On abbey shores where shadows play, the alley whispers night and day. In abomination, alley's grip, where fear and danger tightly knit. Oh, the alley breathes a tale untold of secrets dark and hearts grown cold. Abbey streets, they'll pull you in to the depths where sin begins.
Hello, and welcome to Dire Bear. It's Tuesday night, so of course that means we're playing Abomination Alley, our BRP actual play. I'll be your storyteller for the evening, Jason, and with me as usual will be Patrick playing Leo, Sarah playing Vivian, Eric playing Michael, and Carr playing Teak. Who remembers what happened last week?
A lot.
Stuff and things.
Let's just say the outside agitator got shot.
That would be Vasley,
Yes.
Olnowski.
Need to actually boot up Roll20. That would help. I was
You
sitting
might
on
need
the
to
"this
do
is
that.
my list of games" thing because, I logged in. I forgot to actually click into the game itself.
And also, after that, we tracked down where the actual shooter was.
Mm-hmm. I think Dorothy specifically was the one that noticed.
Yeah.
The rest of you were involved in busting up the riot and doctoring up the people that had been shot. Yeah.
Pulling
Y'all
people
were busy.
out from
Y'all were
being
doing
stepped on.
things. Dorothy is slowly becoming our danger-prone Daphne.
Mm-hmm.
For any of y'all old enough to remember the early Scooby-Doos.
Oh, yeah.
But she spotted a window, a suspicious window. And without bothering to mention it to anybody else, headed that direction. So a couple of you spotted her, and I know Vivian tagged along.
Even though she said she yelled.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of noise going on.
Yep.
But yeah, get over there, found an empty room, or empty apartment. That I think Vivian had convinced somebody to kick the door in.
Yep.
So yeah, you found the rifle used in the assault.
Found the fake beard.
Yeah, I was forgetting who exactly had found the fake beard.
Dorothy did, I think.
No, I think it was Sarah. Dorothy was the one that wound up picking it up because she was wearing gloves.
Fair.
Because the moment Vivian said, "Don't touch anything," Dorothy reaches into her handbag and pulled out gloves.
And me and... well, found out, recognizing the fake beard, that's the same beard that the shooter from the mob meeting happened.
You and Salvador.
Yeah, I believe it was you in Salvador because y'all were the ones that were outside in that incident.
Yeah.
I was thinking Valentino. I was like, wait, that's not his name.
Nope. It's not a bad name though. I should probably use that for something. But so you're now suspicious that the dwarven shooter earlier may have been a halfling and a fake beard. Let's see. Salvador recognized the model of the rifle as an Italian-made rifle. You already knew the Italians were involved in the shipping company some kind of way and really just involved in the docks period. The docks being the part of their
Oh.
territory that really butts up against the Orc Mob and the Brewers Guild. Yeah, more the Orc Mob, but the Guild to a little bit.
Found out someone broke into the dock worker's office,
Mm-hmm.
sent the secretary to the hospital.
Yep.
Had stolen something. We found out after they went back and looked.
A notebook with
Everyone's names.
names,
Name.
addresses, phone numbers. It's not like a list of the entire union, but it's a lot of kind of the upper echelon folks. It's like they didn't quite have the money for a Rolodex, so they just had it written down on a notepad, like a legal pad.
And for those of you who don't know, a Rolodex is a card and address means that basically you roll in a circle to each individual tab.
Yep. I imagine they had those in
Jesus.
the 20s. I have not checked.
It's like me explaining a rotary phone to somebody.
Uh,
I think everyone, at least in the chat right now, knows.
we had the.
No, it was not a ubiquitous tool until the 50s.
We had a. What was it? Our buddy John, back when he worked as a calibration tech, where, all right, click on the floppy disk, and then someone in the audience raised their hand asking what a floppy disk was.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because at this point, an entire generation only knows it's the save icon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but anyway, so and you talked to the police, and Michael sort of lectured the
Both sides.
the management and the union to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe he had a slightly friendlier tone with the union. They certainly took it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I think, let's see. After that, bit of excitement.
Convinced Dorothy not to go hunting down the footprints until the following morning when I think
Yes.
Salvador was going to go with her.
I believe that was the case, yes.
Yeah.
T cloned the Model T.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vivian went home to her apartment. Well, Lilac was there. They discussed their day.
Oh, someone else was there when she came in.
Yeah, she had company.
Yep.
Somebody from her courier job had to drop off the package. He was very apologetic for, having to drop it off in off hours at her home.
We got his name, and I can't remember what his name was now.
Thomas Carmody. Karmody. He's got a nickname, but I don't remember it coming up.
Lilac would probably know it.
Yeah.
All I remember, the main thing I remember is the cliffhanger of where she goes, "Vivian, I don't think I work for nice people."
Yeah. They steamed up the package, basically found, hey, could you drug Vasley enough to kill him?
Yeah.
And a
Along
lot
with
of
some
money
money.
for the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the time. Modern day, not worth the effort.
Yeah, I'll take the money, but
¿Por qué no los dos?
Hello.
Hello.
Ah, excellent. We have a Jeremy playing Salvador.
I'm here. I said I would be here. If anything, I'm 30 minutes earlier than I said I would be.
That is true. That is true.
hey.
That is
So
also
luckily,
true.
we're still in the review phase. You haven't missed anything.
Excellent.
And I believe what got Lilac agitated was when you were describing where this apartment was. And
Yeah,
was
she
kinda
had-
like, oh.
She had been sent to scout out possible apartments there, I think she said.
Specifically for Carmody.
Yeah.
Was Carmody a halfling?
He was a halfling. Yes.
Cool. Cool.
There's lots of halflings in the city. Don't jump to conclusions.
I'm not jumping anywhere.
But we are definitely concluding.
I'm not racially profiling your NPCs. Much.
I could start.
I don't think we really dealt with very many halflings.
Which makes them even more suspicious.
In fact, I think 100% of the halflings that have names may be bad guys.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
So I think Lilac had said she was going to go to the hospital and watch Vasley.
We hadn't
Or she had
decided anything
maybe
yet.
Maybe she had suggested the ideal. She is visibly upset at the fact that, she was about to be involved in an assassination.
Yeah.
I guess was already involved in an assassination attempt.
Yeah.
Because, she's a little, she's prone to giving herself the 5-finger discount.
She's sneaky, but she's not bad.
She's not violent, for sure.
Yeah. She's too small to be
Not
violent.
evil, just self-centered.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
There's a difference between stealing something and murdering a guy.
Yeah. Possession, 9/10, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But if they really wanted to keep it, they should have watched it better.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, so we'll pick up in Vivian's kitchen, where Lilac is pacing on the countertops.
Lilac, pack a small bag for yourself.
Instead
Is
of joking
anyone
about
else
my
getting
size-
sound like? Is anyone else getting like a wind sound?
I have
I
a
do hear
fan
it
on.
from
I'll
the
move
fan.
it.
It's hot.
Okay.
We live in the south.
Are y'all hearing
Mhm.
anything
It's
from
hot.
me? Because I've got one going too.
Funny thing
I've
Funny thing
heard
is-
some from
is-
you, but yeah, it's a fan.
my house is cold, so I'm tempted to get a cloak and just put it over me right now. So
It was cold yesterday, and now it's not, and I'm kind of peeved
Speaking
about
of-
that.
I just keep my fan on in my room all day, so. it
I
keeps
can't
it
put my
temperate.
ceiling fan on because
Yeah, I had my heat on yesterday, and turned my air conditioning back on today.
pretty much that southern feeling.
Yep.
All right,
But
maybe that'll
yeah,
help.
she's gonna look over at Lilac and be like, "Do you have like a small bag you could pack to, maybe hide somewhere?"
Oh yeah, I've got a. She starts to say safe something, and then she's like, I've got a place I could hang out for a little bit.
You're sure? Like nobody knows about it. I mean, I don't know about it, but I mean, like nobody knows about it.
No, nobody knows about it.
Okay.
It's not the comfiest place. I don't want to stay there too long.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can go there. I can maybe see if Teak or Salvador, someone could, if you want to be roommates with somebody. One of those not long term, but they know where you live.
Salvador's
And-
taking all the small folk.
You're just collecting them.
Y'all defeat this halfling assassin, whoever he or she may be. Salvador, oh no, don't shoot him. I have to add them to my collection.
Pulls out a Pokeball.
You have one choice. Pokeball.
I was thinking more of a dog crate, one of those Rottweiler-sized dog crates.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just imagining
Two
Power World
extremes.
now.
Oh God.
Either way,
Yeah,
Nintendo
Power
would
World.
sue us.
Either way, yeah. They're very Sue happy.
Famously litigious.
Yep.
Yes.
We probably have some of their playing cards at the moment, and then 1920s at least.
Boy, we definitely could.
Or I was about to say, hopefully you don't have one of their love hotels.
Oh God, no.
No, not this far
no.
inland. On the west coast, maybe.
She's like, maybe grab that bag just in case. I'll grab one too. Well, they. I'll figure that out. Do you want to come with me to explain this, or because I'm sure there's going to be questions I cannot answer.
Yeah, better. Who am I explaining this to?
He's thinking. The logical thought would be Michael, because lawyer, but we have to talk him out of at least temporarily calling the police on it until we can maybe get Vasley moved.
Okay. And she zips off to get her bag.
Vivian will pack one just to have.
You have
And-
barely gone in and gotten your bag. You go in, you get your bag out of the closet, you throw it on the bed, you open it up.
Yeah.
And by that point, Lilac's back. Like she clearly had a go bag packed and ready to go already.
You really had this plan. She's like really quick throwing stuff in.
Well, you never know when you may have to move.
That's fair. I should have probably left mine packed. All right. And she's packing like real quick. Nothing is folded. Probably far too many pairs of socks, but she don't care. Grabs that in the violin case and makes sure the envelope is well hidden in her purse. And they set out.
All right, and Vivian does not have a car.
Vivian does not have a car. She may see if at the front office she can call somebody.
Yeah, the apartment building's front desk definitely has a phone, and they don't mind residents using it to call cabs. Don't go down there and have a 4-hour conversation with your mother on the phone or something, but
Oh man.
I mean, little worry of that with Vivian. But
Yeah. And she'll real quick just call whatever kind of yellow cab they got.
might be the little
And-
yellow cab.
Uber. Whatever.
It's definitely
Just,
not Uber.
you're looking for the yellow cab. You look down. There's like a lilac-sized cab.
I should have specified. I really should have specified.
Mm-mm-mm.
She'll get one. Did Michael mention going back to the office or not?
He said he was going back home.
Okay, then she would give the home address.
Okay.
And then just shows up, her and a Sprite with bags and a violin
Uh-huh.
case.
Oh, General
Hello.
Motors bought out Yellow Cab in 1925,
There we go.
Mm.
and then
And we were
discontinued
talking
taxi
about-
cab production in 29.
We were talking about
Also,
trading
the-
cards. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say Sprite came out of West Germany in 1959, so it's not out yet. But
Well, we were talking
But
about trading
tis.
cards, and it was the actual trading cards, which were like color cards, were 1860. The first sport trading card was 1930s, and then actual playable TCGs 1990s.
That's surprising TCGs took that long.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like 1993 for Magic the Gathering.
I was gonna say, was it Pokemon or Magic?
Magic.
Yeah,
1996
Magic
for
was-
Pokemon.
Magic was
Not too much further.
honestly, I knew was the first. So
Not by too much. Anyways, up on the front porch.
And your cab driver, he's a gentleman. He's waiting to make sure you're let in before he drives off.
It takes a minute, but he basically shows up in just like basically just pants and a shirt. It's like
No, a sleeping cap.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
no, like I will say since you mentioned that his hair is pretty much just a mane of just untamed.
Cat hair.
Yeah. Well, he keeps it down when he's at home, so it's like, do I want to
Uh,
know?
Oh, you walks around him to get inside, closes the door.
Lilac sitting on your shoulder at this point.
So, new
Mhm.
developments, and just hands the envelope.
So there was, I forget how many hundred dollars we said was in there, but
It was like 200 or something.
Yeah.
It was a
like the
substantial amount.
equivalent.
The way she
of a
says new
point.
developments, he pauses, walks over to his closet, pulls out a pair of gloves, puts them on, and then goes.
Oh man, we have just been handling this willy-nilly, haven't we?
And then takes the envelope.
Lilac
Again.
pulls up her
Yeah.
gloved hands. I don't know what you're talking about.
Why didn't you have me put gloves on? Why didn't you remind me?
You need a patsy.
Your family's rich. You'd get out of any trouble.
My family hates me. You
And they would
forget
hate,
that.
that's when
and
you-
they would hate you being in jail even worse. That'd be even
And that's
Oh,
when you
would ruin their
realize.
image.
And that's when you realize Vivian's always wearing gloves. They're just skin colored.
No, they're just actual other people's skin. No.
Jesus.
Now we know what happened to her husband.
Yeah.
I'll cover up
Based
the
actually
murder
per-
by filing for divorce like I think he's still alive. It's brilliant, truthfully.
It really is.
Just
Planted a
forge
lot
your
of flowers
signature.
that are endangered on top of the grave.
Maybe, yeah, let's note that down.
I heard that.
Yeah, yep.
Vivian's not dumb. She knows where there's pig farms.
Upstate.
Given
Exactly.
Michael's family's connections to stuff, he probably knows where pig farms are. At least over close to Chicago.
He'd know a lot. But I digress. He
While
reads
she's having
through
the argument with Lilac, just hands over the thing.
Yeah, he reads through it, and
Kind of just gestures to Lilac. If you wanna lead on this, or
Lilac puts on her most innocent looking face.
I
So
would
apparently the
prefer an
courier
explanation.
people I've been working for are not nice people. Who knew?
they seemed nice.
They were polite. Very business.
Yeah. Granted, the mob's pretty businesslike too.
Yeah.
I mean, my
Beak
family
sneezes.
is very polite too, but that doesn't mean they're not the single most feared family in the entirety of Chicago.
Lilac looks
We're in
very
Abbey
interested.
Alley.
Like this is new information for her.
I'm assuming
Huh.
you.
Black sheep of a feather, I guess.
Lilac, how long were you in Chicago?
Vivian was there at least 5 years.
That's right. I'm sorry. That's right. That's where Vivian went to from Abomination,
Mhm.
from Abbey Shores. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Lilac.
Vivian
probably-
wouldn't have told her about that though.
Okay. Lilac still looks surprised. Looks like it was new information.
Mhm.
And then she's like, "Oh, you're that Anderson family."
I am not. No. Well, related to yes.
How closely related to her?
Back to the letter.
This thing right here
Yeah.
in front of us.
Thing that I've touched way
Yes.
too much here. We're gonna have to explain that to the cops later.
Yeah.
He's pacing while this is going on.
So Lilac's on your shoulder looking at Michael as you pace one way, and then when you turn around, she's going to lean in to see around your head to still be, looking at Michael.
He's walks up, takes Vivian by the arm and just pushes her toward the living room.
I can pace there too. Trust me.
Yes, I'm aware, but take a seat.
Sits down. Doesn't look pleased about it.
Okay. So, we have what is effectively an assassination order with either some of or all of the payment up front for somebody who works in the hospital to take care of a target because the sniper is
Really bad at aiming.
he pauses as when Vivian says as I could say bad at aiming. However, him dying in the hospital could also be a statement in and of itself.
Less suspicious than being assassinated at a meeting.
Would pull the heat away, the heat and media attention, and quite frankly, the police attention, some of anyway, away from what's going on at the docks.
Either way, we should probably get Vasley out of there. And then probably tell the police.
Well, telling the police would have to come first because last I checked, he's currently under guard because he was shot at, which means getting him moved means informing the police in the first place.
Well, we should call him and tell him to get the notebook. Or just drive down there. Probably better to drive.
Probably.
Just pat the
I'll-
shoulder.
Lilac's like, well, I should probably be getting to that safe place of mine.
You're coming with
Come
us.
on. They're gonna ask who found it, because they're gonna need information on the courier.
And besides, if you vanish off to your safe house, you won't get to ask any questions. And then he goes to get changed.
Leaving a thoughtful Lilac behind you.
Makes a compelling argument.
It is compelling. Though
I don't know.
Though I noticed he said I couldn't ask, but not that he would answer if I was there.
The answering was implied at least. Could probably
Yeah.
negotiate it.
Letter of the law versus spirit of the law, and he's the lawyer. However,
Probably
Michael,
negotiate.
once you get your hair combed and your
He doesn't even bother getting his hair combed. He just puts on something enough to where he looks semi-presentable enough to be outside.
Just
Hair
throws a
stays
hat on
a
it.
mess. Yeah,
I was
pretty
about to say, it's just like he suddenly finds a rubber band. Wait, when was
That's pretty,
rubber
much, that's
bands?
pretty much all it is. He doesn't even
Google
bother
that.
combing it back. He just like pulls it back into like a wolf tail. It's like that's it. Hat, puts on like not any like fancy thing, just like I'm going outside for a little while clothing.
1845.
Yeah.
18
So
Oh, it's
Oh,
patented
okay, yeah,
in
Patented in England in 1845, but wasn't commercially available until 1923. Shit
Maybe
that
it's
you
a
learned
really
playing
strange-
an old school game. Yay!
all the useless trivia.
timing.
Oh God, could you imagine Gods of Appalachia?
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back. We're gonna have to be going back, folks.
I would very happily play Old Gods. I have ideas.
I mean, if we played in the 80s, we could probably get away with, just spitballing it.
yeah, we could.
That would
Wonder
be
they
a
had Phil
very
Thoughts for another
killing each other.
time.
that would be a very different version of that.
One of the storylines in the recent season is in the 80s, so
When did the whole Barlow thing come into being? Was that also like?
I'll look it up. But let's
That
drive
was
to the
80s
police
Barlow Street
station.
guys,
Barlow
yeah.
was season 1, so
All right, so y'all
Yeah.
hop in. Y'all hop in Michael's car and they're heading off.
Mm.
So Lilac's like, so my previous question: how closely related are you to those Andersons?
This does not leave this vehicle. Okay.
Okay.
I am willing to tell you this because Vi trusts you.
Okay.
I am the youngest child of 3 of the former heads of the family.
Oh, yeah, it's your. So it's your siblings that are currently running it, if I remember correctly.
I don't know.
When I left.
I haven't seen them in 15, 16 years now.
Okay. Well, that explains why I didn't know they had a younger brother. And she looked at you. You are the younger one, right?
I am the youngest of 3, yes.
Okay. Don't worry though. I keep secrets.
Clearly.
I wouldn't rat out a friend. That does mean you need to be friendly though.
Well, as long as you remain friendly, you will have a friend.
Vivian just sitting between them, like she's on, like Lilac's on one shoulder, Michael's on the other side, and she's just like staring ahead.
See, Vi, that's how you make friends. You don't have to pull magic rocks out of a bag. Though that would have been pretty fun too.
That would have been a whole thing.
That it would have.
Alright, so y'all get to the police station.
Mm-hmm.
You walk in. The desk sergeant is there. At this time of night is not one you recognize.
Mm-hmm.
You walk. Yes, can I help you? And you said you were not in a particularly nice suit.
No, he's basically in his. I needed to throw something on in a hurry.
Okay.
Presentable,
Outfit,
but not
more or less.
professional.
Yeah. Presentable. Still, probably decently made, but.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, ma'am. Can I help you?
Might as well get the Anderson notebook.
Oh.
I had to throw something on in a hurry.
He jogs off. He almost seems excited, like, oh, I get to do the Anderson notebook. As opposed to the last guy you heard on the phone, was like, get the Anderson notebook.
Mm-mm-mm.
He comes
Should we
back.
see if that one detective we deal with is in?
I don't know if he'd be working today or working tonight.
Yeah, but it's
I'll ask him when he
well
comes
into the
back.
night at this point,
I mean, Detective Cole might be working the night. Who knows?
So anyway,
I'm
desk sergeant
sure
comes
after
back.
this information is given, he might get a hold of him.
Yeah. Is Detective Cole in? Is he working tonight or?
No, I
Is
believe
he-
he worked up early in the day. He was still here when I first came in and started my shift. He should be gone by now.
I see. All right. Well, we're gonna need a room.
Like a holding cell or like an interrogation room or just some office?
Somewhere where we can talk without
Not be
being
overheard.
overheard.
All right. He calls somebody else to watch the desk. He leads y'all back to, it's one of the interrogation rooms. It's not a super fancy one. It doesn't have the two-way mirror.
Yeah.
Roasting lamp.
It does have the roasting
Yeah.
lamp.
Nice.
Michael
I mean, the
does.
table lamp.
Yeah. Once they all get in there, and door closed, everything, Michael will pull the envelope out and say, and I will preface this with Ms. Vivian here did not wear gloves while handling this. The others of us had, so if you find her fingerprints on it, she was giving it to me.
Okay, he understands.
And then he slides it over.
You might want to put gloves on too.
He's a little embarrassed that he didn't think about that. He steps out of the room when he comes back. He's got, I guess it was. I guess they had
excited to have
latex
the
back
notebook.
then.
He's like, Michael just goes, that excited to have your turn with the notebook, huh?
I hear about your visits, from day crew an awful lot. And, fighting monsters, I kind of assumed that y'all would come in here at night more, but
We'll see.
Most of the monster stuff has been during the day.
he's like,
Which
yeah,
has been
see?
odd.
She gets it. Maybe you need to hunt her like a vampire or something.
Oh, jeez, those would exist, wouldn't they? Michael, head and hands.
He's like, working in this part of town, I assume it all exists. And he, pulls down his thing where you see he's wearing, a little crucifix.
He just looks over at
Reaches into his
Vivian's like,
pocket, pulls out a little handful of silver bullets.
do those actually exist? Or I need to study up on them too.
GM, do they actually exist? At least a version of them in Strange Folk.
I know me, OOC, there's literally a wizard spell that is make vampire. So
Vivian, you know the elves have myths of them.
I mean, the elf version does.
both dating back to the Forgotten World and like earlier than their history on Earth.
Oh joy, that means the stories about Vlad the Impaler are probably true.
I mean, we agreed there was overlap between Boogeyman and Bjorn, maybe.
Uh,
Or not Bjorn, the
anyway,
brew.
yeah.
About that time, the cop's like, "Holy cow, that's a lot of money."
Yeah.
Probably make sure it stays there for evidence.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll be locking this up as soon as we're done. Then he reads it. He starts looking a lot more serious once he reads the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go make a phone call. Probably a couple of phone calls. I'll be right back. He leaves. He takes the envelope with him. He's gone 4 or 5, 10 minutes, something like that. Lilac gets bored, starts playing with the lamp. Clicks it on, stands under it. Oh, the movies are right. It really is kind of warm and uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the point.
Probably nice on a nice cold evening, though.
Although, Jason, I hope you know I'm literally putting in my notes the desk sergeant is excited to use the notebook. Michael will remember this.
Oh, I'm sure it'll get old too quick.
The Life is Strange screen.
Thank you,
Everyone
Jeremy.
will remember this.
Let Jeremy back me up there.
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Hey.
I'm only vaguely aware of those games.
Surely you've played a Telltale game.
No, never have actually.
Really?
No, some of them looked interesting. I never did try them.
Short version.
Wolfa.
Whenever you do something and it's like impactful to the story, you'll see a thing that says so and so will remember this.
I mean,
Up at
same
the
thing
top.
happens, I think, in Fallout.
Yeah.
Similar, yeah.
So anyway, he's gone for 10 minutes or so. He comes back. When he comes back, he's still got the note with him, but the envelope and all that's not with him.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all could just wait here, the captain's on his way in. We've dispatched a few extra men to the hospital.
Might just want to see if you can move, Mr. Vasily.
That is probably going to be what we end up doing. I think the captain will make that call after he's spoken, for sure after he's spoken with y'all. And he holds a letter saying this for himself. And he offers to get you some coffee or something while you're waiting.
I would love some right now.
Just water if you have. I don't think I need any more jitteriness.
Lilac asks for a coffee with extra sugar. Sprites go through a lot of calories in a day.
Like a hummingbird.
So anyway, the captain shows up. Mr. Anderson.
Captain?
Miss Rosenberg.
Captain?
Yeah, looks at Lilac. I don't think we've met. No, Lilac doesn't. Lilac does not give a last name. The captain looks, reads through the thing. Reads through it fairly quickly, like it was probably read to him earlier, and he's just sort of going through it, making sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Miss Rosenberg, where did you find this at?
It was delivered to our apartment. It looks over at Lilac. Do you want to
And she
further answer?
takes over to explain it. I'm a courier. I'd been doing some work for her. She names off the company. And that was dropped off by Mr. Thomas Carmody. I've worked with him a couple of times. Taking a message here or there. He had me looking for apartments for him. Specifically, as she rattles off the address of the apartment. So you've been working with our hitman? Heh.
To be fair, she didn't know any information until I told her about it this evening, as far as the apartment and the sniper.
All right. Mr. Anderson, Miss Rosenberg, I need to ask you to step outside. I'd like a chance to speak with with the two of you, and he gestures from Lilac to Vivian. I speak to the two of you separately.
She steps out, gives Lilac a little salute. We'll go to the Gilded branch later.
Say before Michael does step out, he will tell Lilac that he's proud of her for bringing it to their attention.
If you need to retain counsel.
Also that.
You're the DA. That'd probably be conflict of interest. Though you probably know plenty of defense attorneys you could recommend.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all wait outside for a little while, and eventually him and Lilac step out. And, he asks Vivian to come in.
Mm.
And he just asks what happened.
Yeah.
You pretty much give it to him straight,
Oh, yeah. Went home. There was Halfling there talking to Lilac. Handed her the envelope. Talked to the Halfling briefly. Explained what happened during the day. Noticed Lilac was acting a little bit strange. Decided, hey, let's try and open this and see what it is. And then found this. Went there. Now we're here.
Well, he's certainly glad you did.
Yeah. You are going to move vastly, correct? There's also a matter of the dock workers away office getting ransacked. I think you might know about the we told him to call. You might know about the woman that went to the hospital, had a concussion, I believe. It ended up that they stole a ledger with all of the addresses of some of the higher members of the dock workers.
The precinct chief looks over at the desk sergeant, who's kind of nodding along what we've been saying. I'll go get you the report, sir. It came in after you. That call and stuff come in after you'd left.
Lilac wouldn't have known about that. That happened, and I don't think I told her about it.
No, she's like, no. We got distracted by the whole,
Motion
hitman in our house thing.
Yeah, do you think it was him, or was someone that he worked for? He would have fit the furniture size of the room, but have you seen him in a fake beard?
No. Oh, do halflings grow beards? I mean, I guess that may be why I needed a fake. But to answer your questions, Vivian, the chief does tell you that they are planning to very quietly move Vasley out. One of their men is going to take his place in the bed. Assuming they can convince Miss Lilac to deliver the envelope.
She was just about to suggest that. Looks over at Lilac. It's up to you. It might keep your nose clean, as far as the courier service is concerned.
She's like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, she yelled Steve out, Yeah, if you think that'll help, I'll be happy to.
Probably the easiest way to take suspicion off you. Passing along information, maybe. So long as we. Oh. She's like, I wasn't really paying attention if we were followed.
The chief's like, probably a risk we'll have to take. Though they shouldn't have any reason to be suspicious of Lilac. From what she
Fair.
says, she's done a fair amount of work for them the past few weeks. Or past month, however long it's been.
Hope for the best.
Prepare for the worst.
So what ends up happening is the chief has puts one of the officers in plain clothes, in the officer's personal car, and he drives Lilac over in the neighborhood of the hospital. Just lets her out at a random spot, and then she flies the rest of the way in. To leave the envelope where she was supposed to. Basically, one particular locker. I know before she leaves, Vivian, she tells you she'll check in. She'll check in with you. You don't have a phone in the apartment.
Just leave a message downstairs. If you're okay, just tell me you'll meet me for lunch.
That sounds good.
Be careful. Keep an eye out. All the old habits.
Yeah, she's very careful.
Vivian would give her a hug, but she'd crush her. Instead, just kind of does like a fist bump of some kind. Gentle fist bump. Doesn't send her flying.
No.
No.
Once they're gone, the chief looks at you, Michael. Well, once again, Stanton, thank you for bringing us this information.
Yeah, they seem to be getting attracted to our group rather often.
Is that part of being in this, borderline mythic style group? Does it attract the weirdness to you?
I don't even know.
Be right back.
Just been trying to do the best I can as we go along.
Yep. Well, I think we've done what we can for tonight. You and Miss Rosenberg, you can probably head back, get some rest. I guess I'll be up until till my men notify me that they've got Vasley moved.
Well, at the very least, here's to a successful night for you then.
Well, let's hope so.
I should probably get to sleep myself. Got potentially another monster sighting further up north.
Oh, the footprints. Yeah, that. One of the men let me know. Pass that message. Pass that across my desk. What was it? I'm trying to remember. Did Dorothy call here first, and then they directed her to call the local guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, y'all end up saying your goodbyes. You get home. You and Vivian you get Vivian home and get home yourself with no issues.
Yeah.
The rest of you have a very peaceful night.
I will say,
Looking real good.
just for the sake of things, and because I always want to see if I can make this go off so I can get the skill rating higher. I mean, nope. But he will be keeping an eye out to see if anyone was kind of following him on the way back. No,
Nope, you don't see nothing.
I don't see nothing. I'll poke Sarah and let her know about that because she probably will want to check for that too.
Okay, that's fine.
But yeah.
But then we get to the next day.
Mhm.
Salvador, I believe you had something to do in the morning.
I sure did. But I've been driving for 8 hours, so
You're taking.
oh
Dorothy to the
yes, I'm
range.
taking Dorothy to the range.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Teak
Sorry.
blend the Model T to you because he had to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember now.
Uh,
Sorry,
See.
brain's still on the highway. Anyway, yes, that Salvador will get up very early, and like maybe even earlier for like human standards. Is like he's up at 4:30. He's ready to go. He'll give it another like 30 minutes at like 5, and he'll get her.
all right, so you wait till 5, so it's 5:30, maybe getting closer to 6 by the time you get to her place.
Yes.
So you get there, and she's more or less ready to go. She's about half through her breakfast.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Excellent.
She answered the door with like a while taking a bite of toast. Oh, here.
Yep.
A little earlier than I thought. Hang on, I'm not. Be just a minute. I mean, she invites you to stand inside, not out the hall.
Yeah. He'll come in. He'll take off his coat. It has like a chain. He's trying to like dress a little slightly better. And he has like it's not a gold chain. It's just like an iron chain that connects the shoulder bits. I forget what you call that, but he has one of those coats. He puts it on the on the coat rack.
Yeah, and Dorothy's like, help yourself to some tea.
I appreciate it. You remembered, or maybe you just like tea.
So yeah, you go in there. She got a tea kettle on the stove. It looks like a tea kettle that's seen some use. It's not like wore out or anything. Her apartment's not much bigger than yours, though it is a little nicer.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I expected that. He just kind of takes in the sights. He'll like very quietly drink some tea.
You see some she's got some family photos on the wall. None of her parents, other than when she was real small.
Mm-hmm.
But several with like you see she's got a brother in the family photos, and then you see several of them as she's getting older with her brother. Eventually, Michael starts popping up in some of them with her and the brother. And by the time you get kind of grown, Dorothy, there's just a few pictures of her and Michael.
That's a lot of pictures of you and Michael. I didn't know the history went that long. I mean, I guess I should have known, but didn't.
So, him and my brother, they hit it off real early after Michael moved here. It was okay. She goes, after a little while, it was kind of like having a second brother.
I see. Are your folks in? or is this your house?
Oh no, my folks passed away some time ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It was a while. My brother was kind of raising me. By the time Michael came along, my brother was raising me. Then he got sick.
I see.
Consumption just seems to run in the family.
You seem healthy.
Yeah, hopefully it missed me.
Skips a generation and all that.
Consumption.
Oh wait, no,
It
consumption.
all just
I'm sorry, consumption was tuberculosis. That was not what I was aiming at.
okay.
I was trying to think of an old term they used for cancer.
Gotcha.
Ah,
My remark stands. Yours doesn't.
Yeah, maybe cancer was just all they ever used for that one. I was thinking it had an older.
The vape is. No, I'm kidding. It's too old. Turn around. Yeah, Salvador's like, well, condolences.
Oh, so what
whenever
about
you're
your
ready.
family?
Yes. My family is not in America. Well, that's not entirely true. I have, cousins, whatever. The thing about Elven culture, especially where I'm from, is you will, if my mama and say Vivian's mama talked for long enough, they would probably find out that we're related somewhere down the line.
She's like, oh yes, yeah, I can see that.
We run deep. But no, they're back in what do you know about the elves as far as our culture?
I know y'all. Well, she's in the door. She wouldn't say y'all.
Mhm.
Well, I know you
You all.
you heavily influenced the Spanish and French and vice versa.
Well,
A lot of French fashion has a kind of an elven flair to it.
Art Nouveau and Art Deco. Well, yes. My family was among the first to. Well, they say they're among the first to have been in the Spain area.
Oh,
So, yeah.
I figured all of you just sort of popped in at once.
No, a little. I imagine wherever we ended up popped in, but that's what the family says. I don't know if it's true or not. I wasn't alive during that time.
As y'all, by this time y'all in the car and y'all driving on.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think anybody from then is still around. I mean, Auntie Jen's pretty old, but I mean, she only goes back as far as George Washington.
That's the infancy of this country.
Yeah, but that's 200 years versus less than 200 in the 20s, but versus the 1,000 or so years of that actually being.
Yeah.
But
Well.
sure, but I don't know. I hear dryads live a long time.
You ever seen a dryad up close?
I have not.
Neither have I.
Your folks adapted a lot to the cities, but I don't think the dryads really did.
We'll have to go. We'll have to find an enchanted forest at some point. He says, like half jokingly.
It's like, yeah, I hear you can go into the deep woods sometimes.
Don't go into the. If you see a circle of stones, don't walk into it. A circle of anything, really.
Yeah, I was so disappointed as a child. I could never get any of the sprites to explain fairy circles to me.
Just avoid them.
One of them just looked offended. Something about we don't plant mushrooms. But,
Um, Salvador will sticker at that. Like, interesting.
If we
Yeah,
have time later,
I-
can we go up north?
Yeah.
Can we head up and look at the footprint?
yes,
I mean, training
yes, we can.
first. Training first.
Training first. Eyes on the prize. But yes, we can do that.
All right. So you get her to the range. You start going over basic gun safety.
Yes.
And while she seems, really excited about all this, she's taking the training serious. Any worries you had that she might treat the gun like a toy, or might be prone to goofing off with it, she puts that to rest pretty early.
Good.
If you want to go ahead and give me a teaching roll,
I would love to.
'cause I do believe that is a skill that you have now.
That is, it's getting there. It's not like the best in the world, but it's getting there.
Well, you keep getting volunteered to teach people, so
I sure freaking do. I kind of want to spend some PowerPoints to reroll.
you gonna re-roll that one?
Yeah, let's. Why is that also so low? Oh, I know why. Okay, let's try that one again. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to 7. And roll teach. Still failure, but
Yeah.
I didn't flub it. That's okay.
No. You didn't fumble, so you don't make her worse at using a gun than she already is.
Yeah. I think this is less about Salvador teaching her anything useful. It is more getting a sense of if she is going to freeze up in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is just assessing if she is.
Can she
capable of
shoot the gun?
Can she shoot the gun forward and not hurt herself or anyone around her?
She has a gun that's appropriate for her frame. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't go get like a 50 cal or 45 caliber or anything.
Yeah.
Like I described hers earlier, it's more or less a Derringer.
Okay, just like a smaller.
Yeah,
gun.
it's like 2 or 3 shots probably.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted something she could carry around easy. So, she'll splurge on something better once she knows what she's doing. But you mostly go over gun safety, kind of the basics.
Mm-hmm.
She is doing that thing where she tends to shut her eyes as she's pulling the trigger. Because it's like she's anticipating kind of the bang and the jerk and stuff. A lot of people, as they're learning to shoot, have that problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't make a ton of progress, but you don't feel too terrible about it. At least you kept her from running off to the north by herself.
She didn't run off, and she didn't shoot herself or somebody else accidentally.
Correct.
I can work with this. All right, cool. And then that will be that. And then it's like, okay, that's not bad. I would strongly suggest against closing your eyes when you're firing.
Yeah,
but you're not hurting anybody. I understand. It is a common reflex. I did that when I was first at the range in the military, but you get over it very quickly when you're drill sergeant's right here and he like has his hand right next to his face and saying, "Irish, goddammit, if you don't get your goddamn eyes open," and go on like that.
Oh yeah, she's tickled. The swearing really seems to have tickled her. Some of the other guys at the range are giving a disapproving look.
He has that. He's doing like a very bad he's doing a very bad drill sergeant voice.
You see, you do see one guy smiling and nodding like yeah. You're like, yeah, that's another, probably former military.
Yep. And so on and so forth. And then we'll spend however long going over that.
Okay.
So
that's your morning essentially. Getting
yes.
that early a start, you still have you will still have a chunk of the day. T, I believe you had work.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to work. No weird messages left for you. Nobody being bribed to not tell you they were there.
Not tell you that they're.
At least not that anybody tells you about.
Mm.
So either no bribing went on or some really good bribing went on.
One of the two.
Leo, what are you going to spend your morning doing? Patrick?
Well, the tick with that, I was actually going to be, because the initial plan was to go out to investigate the footprints with them.
And that can be something they do, slightly, not late in the morning, but slightly later in the morning.
Okay.
Because
In
they
that
would
case-
not be at the range more than a couple of hours. So if he picked her up at 6, by 8:30 or
Right.
so.
I doubt I'll be able. What was that?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I doubt I'll be able to pull this off, because one of the things because we know from what we've able to figure out is that the Italians have been, well, the mob has been actually the ones kind of behind it. But why are they? And this is, I think, just something that's just slightly that I'm not getting at. Why would they need to resort to these tactics when just regular bribery would have probably have worked?
You don't know. Maybe they've tried to bribe Vasley and it didn't work. Who knows? Maybe he called them Captain Swine when they tried.
Idea roll or
Yeah, go ahead and give me an ideal roll.
okay, what happened there? Come on. Oh, why? There it is. Oh, okay.
Having trouble with the sheet. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. The pop-up, like the thing didn't show up, so.
Oh, okay. All right, so you needed a 75 or less. You got a 53, so that is a success. It does seem a little extreme. But the mob does take its control of the docks very seriously. They do a lot of their, rumor is they do a lot of their smuggling through the docks. Because the Italian mob mostly smuggles their booze in from, out of this country.
Yeah.
Early in Prohibition, you had a few bad cases of people getting poisoned by locally brewed stuff. So the foreign stuff kind of got the reputation for being safer. And that tends to be what the Italians did. In this setting, they started off working with the dwarves. They tried to screw the dwarves over, and that's
Yeah.
That's why the dwarves went independent. But you kind of assume they probably would have tried to bribe Vasley. But he seems to have a history of going around and working with numerous unions, so he may just not be, he just may not be a man you can buy off.
All right.
He may take his whole communist philosophy very seriously.
All right.
And if if they were going to cap somebody, he would probably be the better one to cap, as opposed to Jim or somebody else, because he is the out of towner. So locals wouldn't be happy about something happening to Vasley because he's been helping them, but it's not really like one of their own getting hurt.
Yeah. All right. Another thing that. What day of the week is it, by the way?
Did we ever say last time?
No, because I'm
Can't
trying to
remember.
figure out if
I think it was
I'd
middle of the
actually
week because that's why everybody was for sure working. I think it was like Wednesday. Or
Okay,
something.
that's why I was asking, because otherwise he'd like open up the store for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think
Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
I think last session was Wednesday, so this would be Thursday morning what we're dealing with now.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Another thing I do is actually kind of load up other stuff because I know I'm going to be going out in like the boonies for a bit. So
Well, it's not quite the boonies, but it's just a large park up north that the city has kind of grown up and then kind of enveloped. So yeah, you go open the shop and and people are coming in. You're selling remedies, you're doctoring up on people who can't really afford to go to the regular hospitals. Some people are paying money, some people are paying with eggs or fresh baked goods, or
yeah, it's
almost like you're a
think-
country doctor,
yeah,
just in the poorer part of town.
oh, yeah. That's essentially how it works. I get the idea of the it was Daredevil's law office, kind of how they got paid half the time. So
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he ran a successful law firm because he had a trust fund.
yep.
Well, they didn't know he had a trust fund. It's like, oh, this mysterious money came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Although I do love the fact that why he had that giant apartment is, well, because you never saw it at night. And then you saw the giant neon sign right outside.
Yeah. It's great. I love
I have
it.
to believe the guy writing that had watched that one particular episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yep.
But at least that was one show that explained why somebody in New York could afford a giant apartment. So you're doctoring up on people. Eventually, Salvador and Dorothy would probably swing by to pick you up.
Yep. I'll leave a notice saying that I'll be out of the office.
Out for lunch. We'll be back in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Without defining when it was you left, so nobody knows when a couple of hours is up.
Yeah.
Who else am I picking up? Am I picking up the whole squad? Am I picking up just some of people?
I think it was just me, you, and Dorothy were the only ones going, unless Teak wanted to come along. No, Teak wouldn't be coming because
Teak
that's
is
why he
working.
lent you the Model T. Yeah.
He's working, yeah.
All right, so
Cool.
y'all start driving up north.
Yep.
Let's see, Teak. If you get started early in the morning, it'd probably be 2 in the afternoon at least before you get off. Let's see, middle of the week, Michael's probably gonna have some court cases.
Uh-huh.
Probably.
Vivian, when you get up the next day, there is a message downstairs where Lilac has left you a message about meeting for lunch.
All right. She'd probably go into the office after that.
Okay. All right, so you three head up north.
I was sitting here looking at this, and I was like, Teak would have a lunchbox, but no, they weren't invented until 1935.
Really?
Lunch sack.
Yep,
Yeah.
it should be a lunch sack.
Yeah. Lunch sack. That's actually one of the earliest, like the first pizza place in New York. They would sell it in like a box. It was the first. It really was like an old cake box. And tales of it like leaving it on radiators to keep them warm throughout the day. So.
Let's see, 1930s lunch. I'm now looking at old lunchboxes. See what you've done.
Mm,
You had lunch pails as far back as the 1800s, though.
yeah, and like the first quote unquote children's one was like a little picnic basket kind of operation.
Uh,
Hmm.
so you drive up north to the park. It's a little sparse today. Like, it's the middle of the week. You're not expecting a ton of people. But there's usually somebody playing in the park, walking in the park or something. Kids skipping school, that sort of thing, something. But it seems unusually quiet. Dorothy takes you over where it was supposed to be. Oh no, she's actually been here and seen it. That's right. She's taking you to see it, and then she wants to go to the police station to see if they'll let y'all look at the cast. So yeah, she takes it over there, and there's a section police taped off.
Yep.
You can see lots of human footprints stomping around, but it looks like they've been careful not to actually mess up any of these
That's
oversized
actual
goat prints.
Prints, yeah.
And like I said,
And
they're very nearly the size of a horse hoof. But they're cloven, like
Yeah.
goats. And you can tell. Well, actually, y'all probably need to roll for that.
What do we need to do?
Probably just a spot, but let me look at a character sheet to make sure there's no
Spot, occult.
what I'm thinking of right now is less occult.
Okay.
Because tracking isn't really.
Track is a skill.
Track is a skill.
Yeah, but this isn't about y'all following them.
Okay.
Now, if y'all decide to try to follow them, then make a track skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give me a spot check right now.
Just barely.
Oh, there it is.
Oh yeah, I should probably roll for Dorothy.
Hey, special.
Okay, with a 97, Dorothy's just like, it's a big goat print.
Behold, goat.
Wouldn't that be back gold?
So let's see. So Leo got a success. So Leo, you notice that it's actually more than one of them walk through here. Like this isn't like a super soggy area where there's a ton of prints.
But it's enough to where I can tell.
But you can tell there's a variation in the size. You're like, okay, this isn't one guy that walked through and left miscellaneous prints. This was at least two of them walking, and just each one of them would leave a print here or leave a print there, but not a.
Are there any known strange folk that have cloven hooves?
I believe Satyr do.
I did get a special.
Not a lot of them in the Americas, but
Okay.
yes, the Satyrs are cloven. Let's see, and then Salvador got a special. So you're kind of picking up on everything Leo is.
Mm.
But you also notice where the presumably police officers that were working in the area. Where some of them have left prints do. You notice the hoofed prints press in a lot deeper.
Like a heavier.
Man, these guys were heavier. Were probably heavier than the human folks that have been walking around here.
Yep. I'll look at I'll look at Doc and I'll go look at Leo and go, Leo, do you have a tape measure in your bag by chance?
I'll dig around, like it might have like calipers or something, so it's easier to see. So
Close enough. He grabs the calipers and like checks the depth.
Okay.
You don't have to give me exact numbers, but I'll like do that. Like that's our guy. I'm holding it up, and then and I look at the cops and I'll go, and that's the officer.
Uh,
that big one that attacked me and Anderson in the main hallway, the one that was larger than the other two.
the one that seemed to be buffalo based as opposed to like goat or antelope.
Yeah.
Or, gazelle.
Would that one be big enough, or something like it?
That one was probably a little bigger than this.
Okay.
I mean, you'd have to look at the body to really be sure, but you suspect that one was bigger than this. The larger print that you see is probably a little bigger than most of the ones y'all faced that day. Because most of them were about human size and probably about human weight.
Okay. So that tells us our perps are very dense. So if we see them, we are going to respectfully go the other way and wait for our allies. So I can shoot them all day, but that probably won't do a whole lot.
I still brought the backup in case that option is denied to us.
Oh, so did I. And he like holds up his bag.
Yeah, I have my bag too of the BAR in it.
Uh-huh.
Dorothy's looking at y'all's bag. She holds up her little handbag. Because I think we're all armed.
Armed doesn't necessarily always work, and we have unfortunately learned that through the weird water what's it from last week.
Yes.
All right. My only thought is, it's like open. Oh crap! This is my gym bag.
Jim, like
At the
whole outfit bag.
laundromat. Why do they want me to wash a gun?
Oh well.
Yeah.
They just tossed it all in the machine with the gym bag, and it just goes off in the machine. Yeah. I think we start like just kind of going up the trail, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Following it.
All right, now you can give me tracking rolls.
Yeah.
Alright.
All right. Let's see what I can do. I'm not great at this, so
I'm not great
I'm
at it
gonna fail.
either. I probably fail too, because
That's okay.
Y'all go a few feet, and it's as it gets further and further from the shore, the ground just getting harder and harder, and it stops being easy to notice.
Yeah.
This is all good.
For a little bit, you can kind of notice little broken branches here and there, but then they get out to where there's like paths and the the areas that people use a lot where there's not a whole lot of underbrush, and you just lose them.
Also, I am going to... that would actually, because it's all based on my POW, I'm going to that detect magic in this area.
Okay.
I think that's a special. I can't be sure.
Leo, no, it just says success.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say special if there was one.
Alright.
So yeah, if you're rolling on a 70, you would need a 14 for it to be a special.
Alright.
Just to give you an idea of what the range is. But all right, let me look at detect magic right quick. Let's see, this will be Book of Magic. Sometimes I'm jealous of the 5e players on Roll20.
I'm not.
Just because they've got the whatever it is already built in.
Oh, that's true.
Alright, working in a similar manner to detect enemies. The fetish guides the shaman to the nearest enchanted object or object that's a spell on it. It will not guide the caster to magical objects touching him. It does not detect spirits.
Yeah, detect spirits is its own thing.
Yeah. The fetish seeks out magical things which do not regenerate their own power points, including undead. And magical things which cast spells or things which have spells cast upon them. This spell penetrates up to 1 meter of rock, metal, dirt, etc. Alright.
Are you just doing that like in front of all of us, or are you just trying to do it off the side?
I'm doing it more off to the side because we've walked a little ways down trying to track it. So
Sure. It's more. Does Salvador see you with whatever you're using as your focus to like doing that?
well, my focus is just like a pair of glasses.
I see.
Yeah, he can make his, and the proper term is fetish. He can make his
Yeah.
fetish, pretty much any sort of object.
It's less the objects. It's like, oh, WWE wore glasses, but it's more. Do I see him go shum yum 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 yum?
There's not really verbal components.
Okay.
At least not with shamanistic magic, as far as I could tell.
Uh-huh.
Because a lot of the verbal components is in gaining the spell itself. Because essentially, like how I got this spell, I basically had to fight a spirit in order to gain this ability.
I'm gonna fist fight a ghost.
Gotcha. Okay. Carry on.
There might be a little muttering just for cinematic purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But because I don't know how much of this stuff you can actually use if you were bound and gagged. Well, in your case, you're using a lot of objects. But yeah, you definitely see him pull out the glasses and put them on.
Yeah.
And then get a really kind of focused look. So Patrick, your spell. If you want to look at the
Good,
map,
that closed everything. What happened?
it's y'all are within the yellow circle here.
Let me zoom back out. Yeah.
So it's kind of guiding you down this way.
More towards the forest.
Yeah, it's that general direction. And it's kind of faint. But y'all are way up north, deep in human territory.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot of people up here with magical stuff. And actually getting to the forest itself would be, several miles of walking. Of course, there are roads that lead out, up into the edge of it, so you could
Actually,
always jump into up into the car and just, lean out the window and point and have Salvador travel in that direction.
Yep. I actually asked the officers, did they have anyone track further or any kind of dogs?
There's no officers here right now. They have been. They were here yesterday making
this
plaster
day.
casts.
Yeah, we came, saw this plaster cast and everything. Yeah. So it's just us out here.
Yes.
Yeah, Dorothy brought y'all here to show you the actual prints first, and then she was wanting to go ask the police if they'd let y'all see the cast.
Because we had already set that up last session. That's why.
Did you call? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had forgotten all about that. It's been a weird couple days for me.
God, tell me about it.
In that case, you see that's the direction the magic is. If y'all travel to the police station, you get some looks walking in. Like you see one little lady that just seems to be very concerned about Dorothy.
Yeah, an elf, an orc, and a
human. This nice little girl. What's going on here? Yep. But you're walking into a police station, so probably nothing too bad. But she's concerned. And it's the 20s, so she's not really trying to hide how nosy she is.
Yeah.
Not that Karens do that
And-
these days either, but
I
Leopold-
very loudly roll my eyes.
Imagine if
Leopold
Teak was there. She might say something.
Leopold Mondragon. I called yesterday about the plaster cast about the creatures found near the park.
okay, now the old lady's focused on Leo. What creatures in the park? But the sergeant at the desk is like, "Oh yes, I was told to be expecting you." Just a moment. He calls over an officer. Mr. Leo. Or would he call you Mr.? No, he just calls you Leo. You know, he spoke with you on the phone. If you'll come back with him, they'll show you the cast.
All right.
He's like, some of our forensics guys have given him a look and carried him down to the university to let some of the
Probably like the
naturalist
actual, like,
types there, look at him.
there.
But he takes you back, the forensic guys had figured out that they think we've got prints from at least 2 different individuals.
And before coming here, we actually inspected the area as well. We determined as that much as for certain.
Yeah, he goes, unsurprisingly, they figured the one with the bigger footprint was probably the heavier of the 2. One of them would be on the heavy side for, an average person, but on the heavier side of average. Where the bigger one is noticeably heavier.
And what little tracking we were able to do we've found it looks like they were heading towards the heavier forest area. Has anyone with dogs or anything been inspecting the area, or just focus on the prints?
The chief sent out some folks with some tracking dogs. I mean, we don't have those regularly at the precinct, but some local hunters he knew who had hunting dogs. None of their dogs were willing to track. It's like they would take a whiff and just start whimpering. Yeah, it's the bird dogs I can kind of understand, but the one guy came in. He tracks bears with his dogs.
Weird flex, but okay.
In the 20s, you still had plenty of bears around. You probably still have bears.
You still have
Hey,
plenty of bears now.
Yeah.
Yeah, people still actively hunt them.
There's
I don't know what they smelled unless they just smelled something completely unnatural.
if it's what we are afraid it is, it's very unnatural.
Those goat things that y'all fought down in the mill or slaughterhouse.
That's what I'm.
I've seen
That
the
is what
pictures.
I'm very much afraid of.
Of the bodies.
They are quite heavy.
Yeah.
Footballs.
And trying to remember, was it? It was like in this region or like right around here where it actually happened.
The slaughterhouse y'all fought at was way down here. Yeah, whoever threw that circle up there is.
Aye.
It was
Okay.
on that. It was on that stream there.
It was around Brown's Mill, which is number 7, but it was along that river that's right there.
Okay, because I was trying to figure out if they'd actually like gone around the city to get up here. Because if this area over here is more like farmland, or even like forested.
It's a mix of the two, that blank part of the map, you're getting out, kind of out of the city limits into the county at that point. It's a mixture of farmland.
So
and
they might
forest.
have been able to cross unnoticed.
He goes, well, shoot, from what I hear, y'all had a giant troll down there that was managing to hide some kind of way.
Yeah, it was. He was using the sewers in that instance. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the sewers and storm drains, that would do it. Oh, I wonder what else is living in there.
That being said, we may have to. Do you know of any good guides? Because we may actually have to head into the forest.
Hey, I could ask the chief, and we could call up some of those hunters, maybe.
Thank you.
I mean, some of those guys ought to know the woods around here. He's basically like, just wait here. I'll go check with the chief. And he comes back with a paper with several phone numbers, names and phone numbers on it. Well, let's see. Some of them have phone numbers. Some of them just have addresses. Some of them live, from the address looks like they live outside the city. He goes, now, Chief said feel free to contact these people. But whatever compensation they want, that's between you and them. This is.
Thank you.
Hey, if it'll help take care of this. And he kind of puts his hand down next to the big one's footprint. I do not, or the cast of the print. Yeah, I do not want to run into whatever made that.
I think I still have Leo's calipers. I just put the measure it out. Like I wouldn't either.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Anything else y'all wanted to ask him? No. Dorothy's just excitedly looking around. And eventually, the officer just kind of look at her. Are you part of their group, or? She's like, oh, no, I'm just the secretary. I got the call about this thing.
Yeah. Yes, she on her own initiative, she's the one that actually found the prints.
Like, oh, okay. And she explains that basically they wind up stepping over to the side, just talking, and leaving y'all alone with the cast.
Yeah.
Not that there's a whole lot for you to get out of the cast that you didn't get from the prints, but. No, you can't go ahead and give me a spot though.
Oh, okay.
We're looking at the cast.
Yeah, the plaster cast.
Yeah.
Would medicine or any of my other come into effect of this?
If you were a veterinarian, I would say probably.
Okay.
But you're not.
I also have a cult, so that's why I'm also asking too. So.
A cult would not.
Okay, so spot you said?
Yes. Okay, you both got successes.
Okay.
That's not what I wanted.
Looking at the cast, it's easier to pick out some details than it was in the actual mud. Where you were under the tree, under trees, and, bad lighting, and you're seeing marks on the cast that it looks like the hooves have been cared for. Like there's marks almost like they've been, ground down here smooth, or kind of like how you have to take care of a horse's hoof.
Mhm.
Yes.
And the brew that you saw down south, they just sort of had makeshift tools from what was laying around, very crude stuff. Where these marks look more like, you would expect modern tools to leave marks like this. You probably don't know a whole lot more than that. I don't know if either of you were really raised on a farm.
No, not
characters,
really.
of course.
This interesting.
And Patrick, as a medic, from what you've examined briefly at least the brew bodies. Some of these markings, it'd be difficult for them to do this to themselves. They'd have to get a buddy to do it. And have the tools and know how to use the tools.
That is concerning.
So I'll leave y'all at the police station for the moment.
Right.
Teak, you eventually get off work.
Okay.
What are you going to get up to now?
He has no idea where anybody is, so he's gonna, I guess, go back to the office.
Okay. When you get to the
Yo.
office, Vivian's there.
Hey, babe.
Yay. There's coffee on. She's got a gigantic mug.
Thank
She
you.
did not sleep.
Goes gets coffee. You okay?
Yeah, it was a night.
What happened?
Oh yeah. She'll just go over the whole thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't get any sleep either.
Yeah. Lilac's in a safe house somewhere. She's okay.
From outside the window, you hear,
The
"Oh yeah, I'm
tiniest
fine."
knock.
We
And
found
she
the safe
leaned where
house.
she's been sitting on the sill listening to your recap.
We found the safe house.
Opens the door. Did I miss anything? Or not the door, the window.
Well, it's April. I figure you probably had the window cracked anyway.
Probably.
And she walks in, not with her go bag or anything. She's like, "And no, this is not the safe house.
The
Hey,
file
That'd be
cabinet would
dumb.
convert really well.
More people could find you here than would find you at our apartment."
Yes, but they
We
look
have
for
a
you
lot of
here,
filing
though.
cabinets. Well, at least it's good to know that you're okay.
Yeah, I got somewhere safe to sleep. It's not the comfiest place, but
Passes her a mug and 45 sugar cubes.
she pulls out a little chisel and starts chiseling off the cube. No, she's not quite that small.
Pulls out her own teacup to dip in the coffee.
She could hold a full size sugar cube in her hand without any trouble.
Yeah. When were sugar cubes made? Time to check.
But yeah, she figures during the day she's probably safe enough moving around. And she tells you, she dropped off the letter without incident.
Haven't heard anything back, but haven't reached out.
Anybody get the paper? Well, not like they have it in there this quick.
Never know. She'll run down and grab a paper.
You run down. There's usually a newsboy somewhere close to the diner. Trying to sell people papers as they come in and out. He clearly recognizes you. He's very excited to sell you a paper.
Gives him enough for a paper and for probably some kind of lunch at the diner.
Oh, thanks, lady.
Yeah, don't spend it on anything silly. and goes back upstairs. Or do. I'm not your mom.
I was about to say comics and candy, but comics aren't really around yet.
Well, they're kind of more dime novels, and they'd be like cowboy western kind of comics, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what we'd consider comics.
Yeah, they didn't come out till later. And even the old pulp novels didn't really start up to the early 30s, I don't think.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
westerns.
Sellers got pulp novels.
Well, dime
Sellers got some-
novels. Yeah, dime novels and penny dreadfuls were kind of the predecessors, so they would
Mhm.
still be around.
Yeah, the dime novels for sure. Penny dreadfuls were probably dying out by this point.
Yeah. Inflation is what killed the penny dreadful.
R.I.P.
So yeah, there is an article on riot at the docks. Let's see, what would the headline actually be?
Shots fired.
And
at the
shot.
dock.
Communist rabble rouser
Tracks.
shot during riot.
Yeah.
And
Fits.
the article goes into how Vasley was whipping the dock workers up into a frenzy. Fighting between them and the company's security forces. It does mention the Pinkertons. When it talks about the company having called in extra help for the security. I mean, a good thing, and a good thing they did, because then it goes into.
Is there anything outside of that? Is there anything on the footprints to the north? Like, is there another?
Not on the front page. The riots and assassination attempts seem to have kind of bumped.
Mhm.
Obviously, the potential monster story further back.
Yeah.
There is a little article where it's like the writer had gone to the police to ask for more details. And it mentions they're taking plaster casts. They've asked the public to be careful going to the park. They've essentially put a curfew on the park. Everybody's got to be out of there, before sundown for sure.
I think the others have read the paper.
Probably not.
And it basically wraps up with the fact that the police were calling in some local hunters with tracking dogs to see if they could track it down, but there's no information on how that went. The article still writes it like it might be, an actual something, or what are the chances that it might be a hoax?
It's aliens from Saturn IV.
I think you did start having some UFO sightings and stuff in the 20s. When did Bigfoot sightings start?
Those were.
I think that same question came up last time.
We did that, last week.
Yeah, that came up.
The well-known photo video, I think, is
50s,
60s, 70s.
Yeah. It's actually a lot more modern than a lot of people think it is. While the Sasquatch, that's been a myth for a while.
Oh, yeah. Bigfoot sightings in the 1920s are documented, though not as extensively as later decades.
Yeah.
Let's see, in the 1920s, there are reports of UFO sightings, including a mini UFO showing up over Mount Pleasant, Iowa in 1920. So yeah, the UFO thing is in full swing.
And the Bigfoot video is 1967. Patterson Gimley.
So anyway, Teague and Vivian and Lilac are sitting around. Phone rings.
Vivian will answer it.
Uh, the voice on the phone is like, I'm assuming you identify.
Yeah, Bjorn, office. Vivian speaking. How can I help you?
He tells you this is Sergeant David Gale, Winburn Police Department. The chief wanted me to call and let you know that let's see, how careful would he be on the phone? Phones are new enough, he probably wouldn't think anything of it. He wanted to let you know that we got Vasley moved.
Good.
He was awake and conscious and he could cooperate. Basically we moved into a different hospital. We've got him under an assumed name. The actual doctor looking after him knows what's actually going on, but as far as the rest of the hospital staff, it was a hunting accident.
Does the article in the paper ever actually mention a name?
Yeah, it mentioned
Of the
Vasley.
person.
Yeah, it mentions
Yeah.
Vasley by name.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the hospital
Known
staff
communist
would.
rabble rouser.
The new hospital would only have his fake name,
Right, the new hospital
except for the
only,
doctor.
they have him under an
Gotcha.
alias.
Gotcha.
And like I said, Vasley was awake by that point, and lucid and stuff. So yeah, he's
Hmm.
he's down with all this. But he does tell you Vasley did wish to speak with you. Your group, your organization. Yeah.
I'll get in contact with the others and arrange to go meet him during, visitor hours, I suppose.
The chief's already told the fellows watching him. They're in plain clothes. But they've been told to let y'all in. Let you all in if you show up.
All right.
We do ask that you be inconspicuous as possible when you arrive.
Try to arrive staggered.
Yeah, or just y'all are kind of famous. Now the hospital,
Wear hats and
and he
glasses.
gives you what hospital and what room and stuff, and it is a hospital down in one of the more strange folk areas of town.
I like how
That
good are you at
tracks.
disguises.
In one of
I'm
the
good at
mixed
disguises.
neighborhoods, so there's going to be something. There will be. Vasley's not sticking out like a sore thumb because he's
Yeah.
human. But apparently he had no issues when they were like, we shipped to this other hospital.
Alrighty. I'll make sure we can be as inconspicuous as possible and try to arrive from different doors, times, etc.
He goes, yeah, that will be fine. We're keeping a
Did
pretty
he say
close
anyth-
eye in the hospital, so once y'all are inside, they're not too worried about it. But,
Did you happen to say anything about the information that was stolen? The chief.
When it was mentioned to him, the chief. I'm sorry. Not really. I know he sent somebody to talk to the union about what went down.
Okay.
But I don't have any details on that. I was just supposed to let you know about the Vasley thing.
I appreciate it. I'll make sure the rest of the group is notified, and we'll arrange a visit as soon as we can.
All right. Have a good day then, man.
You as well.
Michael, you get a similar call from the chief himself. While you're working at the DA's office, basically you were in court and you come back and you've got like a kind of a secretary that works for the bullpen, where you guys have desks.
Yeah.
She lets you know, somebody, the Windburn police chief call, you call him back or whatever. And he just fills you in on that same details. If we got Vasley moved, they want, Vasley's wanting to speak to y'all.
Okay.
If he tells you anything pertinent to the investigation, please pass it along. He seems to be
Hmm.
cooperating with us pretty well, but traditionally he's not the sort of person to really trust the police. He might let something slip to y'all, but he
Right.
wouldn't to us.
Mhm.
Can't imagine why he wouldn't just trust the police with such a glowing write-up in the papers.
I know. Well, he just didn't, rouse those rabbles.
I think you're the one getting rabbled.
She will leave messages at the usual places she would leave them for Salvador and Leo.
Okay. So for Salvador, you wind up talking to Miss Penrose,
Mhm.
Okay.
Myrtle Penrose.
Yes.
She does. There's not really a front office in her building, but she has a phone in her apartment that is kind of the official phone for the
It
apartment.
is also a rolling pin.
It's the first
If they
cellular
had
phone. It's
novelty
her rolling
phones back
pin.
then, probably.
Yeah.
At the
It
very least, there's a
unscrews
hook on the
from
wall
one of
next
the
to her where she
tops.
hangs a rolling pin.
Yep.
But she's very pleasant on the phone.
She would just ask to have Salvador call or come by the office at his nearest convenience.
She's like, "Oh, certainly, I'll go. If I see him, I'll tell him. I'll go slip a note under his door now."
Thank you so much.
Oh yes. You people you're doing the neighborhoods around here a service. It's, passing a few messages the least you can do.
We appreciate the support.
And how is that nice Smith Dorothy doing? I hear she's working with y'all now.
She is as invaluable as any of us.
Oh, she seems like such a sweet girl. Even with all the
She
unpleasantness
is.
going on New Year's Eve.
She is. And where she's gonna get herself killed. She is.
No, don't let her get into any
Both
trouble.
can be
And
true.
she basically just keeps keeps the small talk,
Voice.
She's one of those people you get on the phone with, and it's hard to get off the phone with her.
Teak just going to get his next cup of coffee just says, "Hi, Miss Penrose," gets his coffee and walks away.
Looks at Teak like, why did you get her started again?
Oh,
He's
is
just
that Mr.
he
T?
I was
starts
almost off.
silent. He just starts silently laughing as he walks out the door down to the diner.
Gonna have me a 4-course meal, then come back up and see if she's managed to hang up yet.
Vivian's like, I'm going to age 14 years on this phone call. Just in
brings
real
her
time.
brings her back a plate of food.
She has like hunched over and aged 5 years.
You're an elf. You don't age that fast. Oh wait.
Mentally, she has aged.
You can
She-
see it in
she
her
will talk.
eyes.
She will talk for as long as she wants to talk. And then eventually start well, I gotta get going.
Oh yes, I'm sure you're busy. I'd hate to keep you. And then she finds some other subject to go into, but you eventually get off the phone with her.
We'll have to do lunch sometime. Bye. Click.
You won't believe this. I'm actually going into a tunnel. I don't know how that's possible.
A few minutes later, T comes up with a plate of food. How'd it go? Sits it down for her.
She is a talker. She says, while calling Leo's place as well. Wherever that would be to leave a message.
Okay.
And I'd assume Lilac would follow Teak to go get food and come back up.
Lilac's like, I
'cause
want
they
no part
didn't
of
wanna
this.
deal with it. We don't want to deal with that.
To answer your question, Car, I think his office was down there.
Like our HQ, like down there.
Yeah.
So we're not too far from the slaughterhouse.
Well, you're on like the better. Well, you're right. That was supposed to be the poor areas. He was middle of the road, so probably more up here. Let's say.
Okay.
Probably closer to the Windburn office, if nothing else.
Yeah, because having right there would be close enough.
Convenient.
It would explain how y'all can get to the Windburn precinct so quick. So yeah, so you get off the phone with her. You know, Teak slides you a plate of food, and then Lilac's just looking at you. She looks over at Vivian's plate, and then she looks back over at Teak.
Vivian slides the plate partially towards Lilac. Help yourself.
Hey, as I said, I figured Lilac would go with Teak down to the diner because they didn't want to deal with that.
Oh no, Lilac loved sitting there looking at how uncomfortable
Okay.
Vivian was.
Then if that's the case, Teak would have brought Lilac a plate. Teak's not that mean.
So Lilac's got the newspaper out on the desk and is like, laying down on the desk, head propped up like that, reading an article about a National Guard armory getting hit.
Brings a
getting
specific
robbed.
portion food for Lilac and sits. That's probably a saucer and just sits that down for.
Ooh,
Would they have like Sprite-sized utensils and plateware?
Most diners in this part of town do.
Fair enough.
Plate of food,
Yeah.
pie.
Proportionally, they still look a little big in Lilac's hands because she's on the smaller side for a Sprite. And there's a lot of variance in Sprites, Miss
Yeah.
Penrose, for example, isn't much smaller than a halfling. Of course, she is also quite rotund for a Sprite.
She's a bumblebee. We love her for it.
It is kind of Bumblebee-like. Like, aerodynamically, how does that work? Though really, Sprites in general don't work aerodynamically, so the wings are too small
She
for the body
flies through
size.
sheer spite and collecting rent.
The power of a rolling pin.
Mm-hmm. It's her focus.
That's it. She's a shaman.
There you go.
So an armory being hit.
She's like, yeah, there was something in the paper about it the other day. Doesn't look like they really know anything else yet.
Where's it at in the city? Is it up near the forest?
It would be up probably around here.
We'll have to let Dorothy know so she can add it to the board.
And is it possible for me to, in other words, call the office and or the diner?
From the police station? Sure. He'd let you use the phone. No long distance, of course. But...
Yeah. Because I want at least someone else in the group to know the status about what we found.
Okay. So a phone call is made. I'm assuming you both just exchange whatever information you've got.
Yep.
Yes.
Is Salvador and Dorothy still with you?
Yes.
Let both of them know if they get a chance to swing by the office. There's more information. We've already exchanged it, but we should probably at least try and wear some kind of disguises going there.
And one more thing. There are, like I said, there are at least 2 of them instead of just the one. And we are reaching out to see if we can get in touch with local hunters to give us a hand, at least tracking them to an extent. Because if more brew are hiding out in the woods, we'll need to know.
Probably more than 2.
But there's also one other odd detail that came up. This is something that I noticed when we were looking at the plaster casts. The hooves are cared for. As in, someone with modern tools are cleaning their hooves like they were livestock.
There's minotaurs, correct?
Minotaurs do exist in setting, yes. Not a lot of them in
but-
the U.S., but yes, they did certainly exist.
And question though, do they have normal feet or do they have hooves?
Minotaurs have hooves. Uh, Now I have to quickly go cow hooves versus goat hooves.
Cloven or uncloven? I don't think cows are cloven.
Uh,
Oh nope, I lied.
yeah, they've got the split toe thing. They're shaped a little different than
Yeah. Heck, it could even be really big deer.
Yeah, I mean that still falls within the body plan for brew, as much as the brew have a body plan. It's almost like it's less they're one species, and it's more like somebody just took the branch, entire family branch from the tree of life and went, let's stuff this into a person and see what we come up with.
Just hit the roulette roll on it.
Just any of the ungulates. Oh wait, whales are ungulates.
Oh god.
Yep.
Sewer brew.
Whales are actually weird in the fact that, by all accounts, they left the ocean and then went back into the ocean.
Well, they
Can
left
you
the ocean
blame
when
them?
all the rest of us did, and then they went back in.
Yeah.
But every dominant animal group has examples of that. Reptiles did it,
Yeah.
both with
That's how you got kaiju.
but yeah, everybody that's looked at this, these prints are basically like, yeah, that is a big goat print. Based on based on the shape of it, as opposed to being a cow print. And
It could be brew if they've been out long enough after being summoned. Maybe they had to keep care of themselves. As weird as that sounds. Can't get hoof rot.
that's fair. That's fair.
There's
Leo, with your
that.
occult knowledge, hoof rot actually wouldn't be a problem for them, as brew are immune to diseases.
Yep.
They're carriers for a whole lot of stuff, but it doesn't actually do anything to them.
How Nurgle of them.
They tend to roll around in feces, and they love to contaminate human, whatever species.
Everything.
Like they did, the stories have them like not valuing gold for its, the value other races put on it, except that they would contaminate it with some disease and then leave it out where people would find it. Because if you see a pile of money, you're going to pick it up.
Question in the forest area, and this is a concern, are there any water reservoirs or water sources in that area?
That's a good
I can
question.
see this.
And one you'd have to actually research, because that's not something most people in the city would necessarily know.
Yeah. Knowledge history, where there's like local that, or there's like some specific geography I'd have to figure out.
If you had a knowledge local, that would work. I will let history work. I will let.
All right.
If you've got an interest in history, you're moving somewhere. You'd look stuff up. Okay, so you're not sure. You'd have to ask around.
Because the fact that they like to contaminate stuff is...
That could be a problem. Now, you do know you're on the shore of a great lake. That's probably where the city's pulling most of its water from.
Yeah.
So if they're going to do something like that, you might have to look more at the water treatment plant.
Yeah.
Which is down towards the southern part of the lakeshore area, kind of in this area.
Okay. Gotcha.
Lakeshore is where the docks were, right?
The docks are down here at 6.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
most
the
of
ones-
Lakeshore up here is where the rich people that want to live on the lake live for the most part.
Okay, so
It's
is 6
fancier.
where we were with the shooting and everything?
Yeah, the shooting, and the dock protests and all that are down. Yeah, we're down around here. Like the little park that y'all met the mermaid at, that you said was your usual rendezvous, would be just a little ways down here. Or was it a little ways over here? I forget. Whichever way the Slaughterhouse River doesn't flow once it hits the lake. Just slapping labels all over my map.
Sorry. People keep asking.
It's more useful that way.
It's-
Yeah,
And I'm trying to use like red for areas that were like where we've been like hostility wise or possible things. Yeah.
And where allies and other things are too in blue, thus the
Mhm.
HQ one.
All right, so the Leo, Salvador, Dorothy team. Are y'all headed back to the office at this point?
Unless Leo has anything else to do.
Because we may need to actually procure funds if we're going to hire any of
Yeah,
the trackers.
that and also just having extra eyes on hand.
All right, so y'all
If
load up
it's
in the
the
car.
brew- Yeah, if the brew were involved, yeah, we'd better not.
Better not go ourselves.
Yeah,
We tried
Do
that
not-
once.
yeah. Do not split the party.
Correct.
So yeah, y'all load
Split the
up.
party when doing research. Don't split the party in a combat.
Yes.
So y'all head out. Dorothy's like, all right, I think I got us an in that precinct now.
Like
Elaborate.
You know, Sam, the officer we were talking to. I think he's a little sweet on me. And yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
Noted.
And you're sitting going, well, that small talk she started with him just seems so natural too.
Yeah.
She may be dangerous socially.
I kind of look at Dorothy and go, I think we have your talent here. I think we've got your talent in the group.
Oh yeah, I'm a people
No wonder
person.
you hang around.
Yeah.
No wonder you hang around Michael all the time.
Oh yeah, wrap around my
Well-
little finger.
Yeah.
Well, truth be told, it's the majority of our group are not. Well, let's just say we're not known for our social skills.
I don't know, Vivian's pretty good. Teek's got that kind of little adorable thing going on.
He just smiles.
Well, you hear it. They're talking about this in the car on their way to the office.
Somewhere Teak smiles. Doesn't know why.
Somewhere Teak smiles.
Turns out
Your
you
ears
find out
burn.
he's
We'll
in.
talk about you, but you know.
Teak sneezes.
That's it.
Turns out the Model Teak and Teak are actually one and the same being. They're linked psychically.
Okay, hold on, buddy.
A listening device inside the Model T.
And that's the old school listening devices too. So it's got like the giant headset or like the dials.
Vivian just sees Teak in the corner with giant headset.
Just let him go. He's having fun.
So anyway, you get back to the office. Dorothy walks over, puts a pin in the forest area. And then digs a book out of the desk, or out of one of the filing cabinets. That seems to be a book of the maps of the city kind of thing.
Hmm.
Basically, she overheard Leo's conversation on the phone, so she's looking to see exactly where do we store our water at.
She'll ask, do you have the armory being broken into marked? I know no one called about it, but it might be tangentially related to anything.
Oh yeah, I think I read something about that in the paper a day or two ago. Lilac flies up with the paper. She kind of looks at it and puts another pen in. That doesn't
God,
really
there's
seem
two
like
of them
a us involved sort of thing, but
Neither do union dock workers, but here we are.
fair.
And with it being an armory, someone needed weaponry.
Oh God, the Brew have a tank.
Okay, if y'all read the article in detail, it's a lot of rifles and that sort of Thompsons and that or whatever the equivalent is.
Yeah.
Mm,
It's not any
Fair.
grenades or I don't even know if they had rocket launchers.
Yeah,
at the
the
time.
sad fact is that's actually a lot of how like Bonnie and Clyde and like the motorized bandits, that's how they got most of their guns, because back then some of them didn't even have locks on the doors.
It
and
was a
for some
simpler
reason,
time.
one crossbow.
So yeah, I mean, but armories getting hit is not some super freakish thing. It's a big enough deal that it makes the local papers when it happens.
So we have to she'll wait till everyone's there, because I'm assuming Michael's coming as well.
Oh yeah, Michael would get done with his work at some point. Sorry, I forgot about poor Michael.
Waits till everyone's there. So Fastly went to see us, but we should probably try to not look like us.
That's okay.
Oh, I left all my
We're-
disguise stuff at the apartment. That's Lilac.
We can probably make do with something. I mean, or we can run back real quick and grab it. If she knew they were going to do disguises, she would run back and grab it real quick before everyone got there.
Okay. Lilac has wigs.
Are they lilac-sized wigs?
They are lilac-sized wigs. Otherwise,
They're going to be fantastically helpful.
I just imagine that they're all multicolored and like they put them on teak and it's just a rainbow.
It's nothing too
Just like-
freakishly colored because this is the 20s.
Yeah.
Only old ladies were allowed to have blue hair.
She has disguise stuff. She has a pretty decent disguise skill. So she'll be
Now-
like, I could
now
make
imagine-
you all look enough
sorry.
different that you don't look like yourself when we're going in. You'll still look like, an elf or human, kobold. You're gonna look like I'm sorry, Teak.
It's okay.
I can make it look like a different kobold, though.
Not unless you carry a big suitcase.
We are not putting Teak in a suitcase.
It's happened before.
They're not as uncomfortable as you
We're-
think.
We're not putting you in a suitcase.
It's kind of comfortable, depending as long as there's nothing in it.
She's like, I'm trying to be polite and a friend here.
Just don't put a pencil in there and we'll be okay. Those things hurt, especially when jabbed in your side.
Do you really want to be in a suitcase? Is that it?
No, I'm making a joke.
Lilac's like, oh, I thought you were missing your mob days.
She leans over to Lilac. I was put in a suitcase once.
Yeah, I wasn't joking when I said they're not as uncomfortable as you think.
She's
Nobody
going
put
to
me
go
in there,
around.
but yeah, sometimes you have to hide.
He's going to go around and start trying to disguise people to kind of look enough like not themselves.
Lilac
Don't need to roll.
disguises herself to look much lighter color hair and much more traditional,
Outfit.
Sorry, I laughed because I was like, make Teak look like a barkling.
How many wigs does Lilac have? No.
Not enough. The tails would be
figures
hard
they
to
would-
hide, though. The tail would be hard to hide.
The trick is with the
Rare
first
trench
thing that
coat.
popped into my head when you said Lilac had multiple colored ones and Teak was going to wear them. Teak in a multicolored wig and like Bootsy Collins, like star glasses.
True.
Nice.
Really? Using some power.
Oh, come on, y'all can just show in really
Ah.
bad disguises.
She has standards. They're not much, but she has them.
Alright, spend the points. on
Y'all
your
can
roll.
talk if she's doing disguising.
Okay. So yeah, like,
Nothing dramatic.
you're not really changing anybody's species. It's just,
Classes, hats, stuff
different
like that.
dude, you change up the clothes enough that it doesn't look like their usual style,
Yeah, switch jackets between people. While she's doing it, she'd be like, "You guys talk amongst yourselves."
Salvador is just looking around. Talk amongst
so,
yourselves.
He's gonna look outside and see if anybody's like any weird cars or highfalutin
Invisible men.
cars are outside or
or suspiciously ordinary looking men.
yes, exactly. Something that he might recognize as either an Italian or a mob style of vehicle, or just keep a lookout, basically.
Okay.
She would go back over the envelope thing if she didn't give the whole story on the phone.
Okay,
Teak.
Teak, you're not
None-
really noticing anything particularly unusual.
None of us see anything.
You see a lot of ordinary guys walking around in business suits, but they're not suspiciously ordinary.
How ordinary do you have to be suspicious? Is what Teak's thinking in his head.
Yeah, and you realize,
That
the
man
problem
is
with
all.
the problem with people dressing like average people is that so many people are average.
How average is average? Oh God, am I one?
But you're not seeing anybody in pinstripe suits or anything. Nobody seems to be watching your building.
No.
I mean, now a lot of people that walk by glance up at the building because it's kind of known that it's y'all's office in this part of town.
Yeah.
A few people even wave when they see a kobold leaning out one of the windows. Oh, I bet that's the one.
He just waves back, being nice.
But eventually Vivian gets everybody kind of disguised up a little bit. Y'all head to the hospital. And I'm assuming drop people off at random street corners, let them walk the last block or so.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, did anybody call Michael and
Yeah.
tell them this was happening?
Yeah, we had this
Yeah, we
discussion
called
about
in-
it. I couldn't tell if you were paying attention or nothing. But
I
yeah,
would
they'd
call
probably called
you
you
to
at the
the
office,
office.
so as soon as you got off work, you could have.
Okay.
And then once he got there, she did the disguise everybody thing.
Right. Yeah. I heard the office and was assuming like y'all were talking about HQ office.
No, we called disguise too.
Okay.
So
Even have a
individually,
fake
y'all all
mustache.
managed to get up to Vasley's. Give me spot checks as you go up.
Hey,
Yep. Yep.
I'm gonna do my usual because I want to see if I can get away with it.
Come on, man.
Yay! It goes off. Which
Roll
means-
vibe check.
Yeah. Said spot.
Yes, spot.
Yay.
All right. So everybody that succeeded,
Mhm.
as you're approaching the room,
Patrick, did you roll spot?
oh yeah, we did.
I'm sorry, I wasn't here.
No, good. I just wanted to make sure you got the roll in.
All right. Well, I already passed my roll for today, so okay, passed.
So yeah, so everybody that succeeds, you spot somebody sitting in a chair, reading a newspaper, but he's clearly watching everybody pass by. As y'all get close to Vasley's door, it's like he starts, it's like he's really paying attention to you. And then he kind of relaxes and gives you a nod, like he looked really close. Oh, okay, I think I know who that is.
There's no other reason 5 people would be coming this way.
Man, I'm gonna be very embarrassed if they send an entire squad of assassins after this guy.
Everyone goes in there and just Julius Caesars him.
Oh my god, they turned this man into a giant salad. Hey, when you open the door and go in, there's somebody sitting in there with Vasley. Once you're in and the door shut, he identifies himself and plays off, pulls out his badge. Vasley is awake and conscious, and got a little radio playing in the corner.
1920s jazz.
Yeah, Vasley strikes him as a jazz man. Jazz is kind of anti-establishment in some ways.
Just because knowing what he does about the whole thing. Cool. He's gonna focus his attention on Vasley.
Okay. Oh, and you have looked at him with that going on before.
Yeah, I mean like the now bit.
Yeah. But
See if
the officer
anything else
tells
happened to his health.
Oh yeah. Yep. He's
'Cause
definitely suffered an
detection is
injury, but
now on.
he's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The police officer, once he introduces himself, he'll excuse himself, tell you he'll be right outside the door if you need anything. And Vax friends, thank you for coming. I wanted to thank you in person for the help you offered. You probably stopped quite a few injuries, quieting the riot as quickly as you did. He looks over, and the medical assistance you gave me. The doctors say, if I might very well have bled out before the ambulance could have gotten me or could have gotten to me, without you.
But to have been of help.
But yeah, he truly appreciated it. You have been a friend of the dock workers.
Well, my father was one, so.
He's like, oh, here in the city?
No, along the Mississippi.
Ah, yes. I have not. That's one area I have not been. I've not been down south. Well, southwest, but not the south. I hear they're even a little more hostile to unions than up here.
Significantly.
But mostly he's concerned about Jim. And of course, poor Hyson, getting a scare like that, though. Jim has been by this, well, not by while I was here, while I was at the other hospital. Jim did come out and let me know what had happened with Hyson and that she was fine. Getting the names and addresses is a little disturbing. I mean, not that you couldn't find that information out about most of the people on that list with a little legwork anyway, but why somebody would want it? And if not for his gestures towards his bandages, if not for this happening, Jim would likely have been at the office when that man broke in. I wonder if someone was trying to remove us both. But that's just me sitting here with nothing else to do than theorize. Have you discovered anything?
Aside from the envelope? Not really. That would pertain to this, I believe.
Mhm.
Is there a window?
Yes, yes. And in this day and
Michael's
time, the
gonna be-
windows are open. You can actually open them.
Michael's going to be keeping an eye out the window.
If I was going to shoot into this window, where would I be shooting from?
Pretty much. Yeah, he knows we're dealing with a sniper, so
Yep.
he's keeping an eye out.
That's fair. That's fair.
Teek's gonna walk up to Leo and like tug him to like lean down.
I lean down.
Just check the medical stuff just to make sure.
His health is currently fine.
Check his
Yeah.
charts.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you did. I don't think you told Teek that, so he's he's going by his own notions.
Yeah.
Looking at his charts, medicine roll.
Okay. You're looking at the charts. You're not seeing anything suspicious there.
Okay.
You step over. You look in the trash can for like discarded stuff. Okay, nothing. There's no weird empty drug container there that shouldn't be there.
All right.
And then back to the sniper lookout for for Anderson.
Luckily, the hospital is actually kind of the tallest building on the block here.
Mm.
So a sniper on a neighboring rooftop could definitely shoot the window.
Yeah.
But they'd be unlikely to be
would
able to see Vasley laying in his bed.
They can see into the window, but they can't see what's
Right,
really
right.
into the actual area.
So
Gotcha.
Michael standing looking in the window would be visible, but not anybody really
Yeah.
further back in the room.
Hmm.
Now, if they've got halfling assassins, maybe they have sprite assassins as well. Who knows?
It made me think of when the first helicopter was created, 1936. So not this era.
Yep.
The more you know.
Yeah. I say he's still gonna be basically just be keeping an eye out.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's already been multiple attempts. There's no telling.
Yeah.
Mm.
Everyone else
Ooh.
has reported that they're
But
fine.
auto gyros were around in the 20s.
Yes, they were. They were
Someone
the
just, like,
British.
pedaling.
They looked basically a plane with a helicopter propeller.
I
They
knew
were sort of the proto helicopter.
Yeah, I knew they were around in the 30s because in the old Doc Savage pulps, he had one.
Yeah, because those, like the actual propeller, like the rotor, was not motorized. It would gain spin as it took off, which would assist in landing, but it would allow it to auto gyro down still.
Which, is a bonus for an aircraft. Oh, the engine just stops working. Yeah, we just kind of, we just sort of land. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can't really hover in an auto gyro, so someone better be a damn good shot if they're using one of those.
Yeah.
Easier just to get a sprite with a gun.
Just Ant-Man him.
It's only it's essentially a 9mm pistol, but it's like shoulder mounted.
Why is Myrtle out there? Why is the gun shaped like a rolling pin?
Why does the gun shoot rolling pins?
Last words he hears is, "I'm gonna flatten you."
But as you're talking Vasley, like, so I mean, is there anything you keep from Vasley as far as stuff you've just uncovered? Because it's mostly speculation at this point. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
okay.
Yeah.
It's just
With us,
speculation, yeah.
and I mean the stuff up north that he really would have nothing to do with. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The brew thing that's probably, hopefully, I'm sure you're thinking, a completely separate, thing that's just going on simultaneously.
Yeah.
She will bring up the armory getting robbed. I just want to make sure, and you can lie to me if you feel that's necessary. Your men had nothing to do with that. Just a tight smile. Your men had nothing to do with that.
No, of course not.
I didn't think so, but I'd like to just double
Uh,
check. She's rolling insight.
Yeah, I am too.
so is Teak. Gotta find the insight roll. Oh, I have 5. No.
Jeez. With that aura detection active, my insight's 102%.
Just
see what
inside his
Teak's
head,
is?
massaging it.
Teak will never insight roll again.
Mm.
It's okay, Teak.
Duh.
She's like, well, he seems
On
legit
the
to
plus
me.
side, Teak. On the plus side, Teak,
Yeah.
for somebody that used to be in the mob, Teak really takes people at face value.
Yep.
You know, if you succeed on your roll, there is a 1 in 3 chance that success will be a crit.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
If I roll a 1,
Mm-hmm.
he's just gonna incite everybody. Are you lying? Are you lying? Michael, are you lying to me?
Just grabs them by the labels. Are you normal? Are you ordinary?
All right. I'm not rolling for any particular reason.
Sure,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we believe you.
Does the
I'm
aura?
glad. I'm glad you all failed your personal checks.
Salvador
Some of them didn't.
is
No, I
What do
mean
you
he,
mean?
the players, not you, the characters.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Salvador's looking for other points of like he saw what Michael was doing. He's also looking for other points of like sight lines and stuff like that.
All right, so that's a 20. All right. So did anybody get better than a success?
I got a special.
Okay.
That
So
aura
everybody
power on.
that got a success, yeah, Vashley's just sitting there going, no, of course not. You know, it's not like he's sounding super innocent or anything, but
Plus, I will also say with the successful idea roll I did previously, I would also know like all the usual stuff that aura detection gives me. You know, like degree of evil, power points, or degree of good, yada yada yada.
PowerPoint's less than you. He's probably average person.
Yeah.
Degree of evil, I think we got that last time.
Well, last time I tried, it never went off.
Oh,
I
did it
failed
never
the
go
roll.
off? Did it never go off with Vashley? Okay.
Yeah. I failed the. I tried, at the office when he first met like Vasley and Jim when he was introduced to Jim, but the power never went off.
Okay.
This is the first successful time it's been off.
You
Around
get the
Vasley.
same vibe from him that you get from a lot of politicians.
Okay.
So I would say a little evil, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like to put it on a scale, he's not pinging like he's a serial killer or something.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody that's a fair bit ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's probably not planning to blow up hospitals or anything.
Yeah.
but he's gonna get what he wants.
Yeah, but what he wants is better conditions for the workers.
Mhm.
For the workers to
No
rise up.
No matter how that happens.
Well, when has there ever been a peaceful revolution?
Not wrong.
I mean, he's a Trotskyite. He does he doesn't necessarily bring it up a whole lot in his speeches, but his whole
but
kind of movement does advocate for the violent overthrow of capitalist societies, and certainly any sort of monarchy or imperial system.
Which is part of the reason why Trotsky fled the USSR, because Stalin took power and was kind of setting himself up as a monarch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were big rivals, kind of period.
Yeah.
It was going to be one of them that took over more than likely.
Yeah.
That's why you get an ice axe to the back of the head.
Yep.
Down in
Yeah.
Mexico. But as far as the insight roll, no, you think he knows something about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was definitely something there in his reaction.
Yeah, so Michael,
Is
like,
he just directly lying, or is he just sort of obfuscating, or does he suspect that his people might have done it? And he's, that's all up in the air.
yeah.
But he's definitely holding something back.
His fingers start drumming on the windowsill.
Uh,
You're certain it wasn't any? We're just trying to figure out all angles.
oh no! We wouldn't. We don't wish to escalate the violence here. It,
Well,
it
that's
would be
not
it would be
hope not.
counterproductive to the union's goals.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, if the company chooses violence, and you don't call the Pinkertons into something like this unless you've chosen violence.
Of course, you have to be able to defend yourself.
Oh
If
yes,
that is the
we would be
case.
very interested in defending ourselves. Though he notes that nobody else at the docks got shot other than him.
You were
So
probably
clearly
the
his
most.
people were showing restraint.
And we've already mentioned that. I was going back on that. Yeah, we've already talked about how they found the sniper. So
Yeah. Y'all brought him up to date on that.
Alright.
He knows to watch out for blonde halflings now.
Well, yeah, there
Paranoid
was
of
a
all
fake
blonde.
there, so
Yeah.
blonde
Paranoid of all
halflings
blonde.
wearing fake beards.
Pseudo dwarves.
The
Marginally
drumming
hairless.
gets a little faster before he just kind of sighs. And it's like, well, I certainly hope nothing escalates, considering I had to talk down both the company and the union while I was there.
It wasn't Jim. He'll name off somebody that was in the group he talked to.
Mm.
I don't think
Well,
he
it was
showed up.
Jim was there.
Was he
actually,
there for
while
the
he
speech?
did it.
Okay, I
Yeah,
couldn't remember.
he was definitely there for the "do not escalate" shit speech.
So yeah, he's like, oh yes, Jim explained that to me.
Mhm.
And that's fair. People on both sides could probably stand to hear that message.
Quite.
Uh,
After all, it would be a shame if during all of this somebody decided to go and grab a hold of things that could escalate things to lethal levels through physical violence.
Oh yes, that would be
As
a
he
shame.
turns and looks, his head turns because he spots Salvador keeping an eye on things. So he's like, "All right, Salvador's got it." He trusts him, and he looks right at Vasily and just goes, "I know you
Not
know
mad.
something about it.
I'm disappointed.
I would like to get to the bottom of this, and you trying to obfuscate things is not helping."
Sir, you wound me. There's an ever so slight, he's turned towards you and a little bit away. There's an ever so slight
like,
smirk. on
sir,
his face.
you wound me. The bullet's already done that.
I'm gonna stab you then.
So yeah, he's not certain what you're implying, but if it'll make you feel better, he'll ask around and see if anybody knows anything.
I prefer you just to tell me what you know.
It's less what I know and more what I suspect, or perhaps I should say what I fear.
Well, then, what is it you fear?
I'd rather not say without looking into it. I wouldn't want to cast suspicion on someone and then discover that I'm completely, out in left field on it.
And when we get blindsided by it later on?
Well, hopefully that won't happen. If somebody involved with the union is involved with what you're concerned about, I would definitely try to talk them down. As I said, an escalation of violence would be counterproductive to the union.
Little
Have you
counter-
heard?
All right, Vivian, go.
Have you heard when there's going to be any further negotiation, or if there's going to be any further negotiation between the union and management?
Probably not this week. Well, with the excitement, everybody's pulling back to let the police investigate, and
Naturally.
yourselves, of course. However, next week is will be the lead up to the election for the union president. I, of course, am backing Jim, but of course, he's not the only one running.
How many others are running?
There's 3 others. Do I have their names handy? I don't think I have their names handy.
Steve, Bob, and Bob too.
Steve, Bob, and not Bob.
Steve, Bob, and Steve with a PH.
Stephen.
He
and
roused off people. I'll
Stefan.
have their names by next week.
Yeah.
2 of them. It's really just going to come down to 2 of them, in all likelihood. But they'll be doing some campaigning and this, that, and the other. Obviously, I'll work with whoever wins.
Maybe suggest all of them to be a bit more careful, a bit more observant, everything considered.
You're right, because they obviously tried to kill me, and I'm still worried that that's what the purpose of that man breaking into Jim's office was. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just somebody ransacking it, trying to get information. It just seems quite a coincidence. It just seems quite a coincidence that the only reason Jim wasn't there was what went down at the dock.
Yeah.
An ounce of caution saves a pound of pain.
Indeed. And I've gently pats the wound. I have had enough pain for the next little while. I won't keep you any longer, but thank you for coming by.
Of course. If you think of anything else, don't hesitate to reach out.
Oh, I have your number. Memorized, even.
Another tight smile and a nod.
Well, he meant the office number. He's not. That wasn't him flirting.
She's still just like creepy.
That was weird to say unprompted.
She
He
gets
is on
the,
medication. He's pretty lucid, but he is
Yeah.
on medication.
She just gets the like kind of marginally schmarmy, like used carsman politician vibe.
That's fair.
Mm-mm.
So she's like, I'm a go.
I'm out. Bye.
Just jumps out the window.
So y'all leave.
Mhm.
As y'all leave, the policeman nods to you. There's somebody else waiting out there to come in and speak with Vasley. Based on how he's dressed, probably one of the union guys. He's not one you particularly recognize.
Someone that's not particularly recognizable, you say.
You
I'm
do not
eyeballing
recognize
that
this
guy, too.
individual. He is dressed like a dock worker.
I'm doing the vibe,
Vibe
check,
check.
on that guy. Yeah.
And,
While my
well,
power's still active.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Vibe check with
Just-
this guy.
Barely succeeded, but
How can I put this? Power wise, less powerful than you. He's probably not magical or psychic or anything.
yeah.
Or if he is, he's just not very good at it.
Mhm.
Health wise, there's something wrong with his lungs, but it's not massive. It's not.
Yeah.
It might be a long term problem. It's probably not anything affecting him now.
Mhm.
And as far as evil or whatever, let's just say he's a good match for Vasley.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Has Teak worked on his car?
Party har har.
If I roll a 5 or less, we'll say that you have
Out of a D100?
5 or less?
on a D100.
Oh.
The big
Hey.
Oh, a
city.
D100.
You don't work on everybody's card.
No, I know. I was just like, I
roll
didn't
a
see
one.
it was a D100.
17.
Okay.
Pretty
so
close.
So yeah, not that far off, but no,
Mhm.
you have not, to your knowledge, worked on his car.
I was really hoping for that 5 and under, though. So
Yeah.
Didn't he just rattle off the make and model of his vehicle?
You had that
because
Studebaker.
then you'd have to eat crow on camera.
No, it
Stephen.
wouldn't be some world-shocking thing. It would just be, oh yeah, take care of you.
All right. He came to the shop once.
It just means you'd remember him and you remember his car. So you would, I guess, if he was hiding somewhere, you'd recognize his car parked there.
Yeah.
His car always smelled like fish. That's why you remember it.
But, and he's got like a big file, of papers. So
Yeah.
probably union business, and he goes in there. And we'll go ahead and wrap here. We're actually a little over.
Yeah, it's almost 10.
10,
We
yeah.
will wrap here with y'all leaving the hospital. That's where we'll pick up next time.
Mhm.
Hope y'all had fun. I enjoyed it.
Yep.
Hope anybody that comes by and watches later, hope you liked it. Hope you join us next week. Again, I was your storyteller for the evening, Jason, and with me has been Carr playing Teak, Jeremy playing Salvador,
Wavid.
Eric playing Michael, Sarah playing Vivian, and Patrick playing Leo. And we will see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
Improved Narration Jazz Hands.
and heed the sign. Abomination, Ali's light.